I have a confession. I have never touched any of the Infamous games, and believe me, they were one of the few set of games that really made me sad I never got a PS3. But with a PS4, I can make up for lost time with Second Son. And, well, not as good as I hoped, but not nearly as bad as I feared. Let me get this out of the way. The game looks fantastic, but the dark visuals hampered my experience. It didn't make the game unplayable, sometimes, but it reminded me how much I hate games trying to be realistic and then proceed to do this. It's an eyesore I could do without. It's worse when you try to dash with certain abilities. The story is honestly okay, but never makes it into full good territory. You play as Delsin, who is a rebel of sorts that actually reminds me of Reboot Dante. Only nicer and likable, as he actually plans to help people in trouble, although trust me, he still has his dickish moments. And hey, he's rewarded by suddenly gaining superpowers from other conduits, which are basically mutants from the X-Men. So our hero is basically male rogue with none of the downsides. A shame he never had the outfit from the 90s cartoon. I bet it'd be real fitting. But much like the X-Men, not all is well. Those powers land him in trouble, with Augustine assaulting the people of the town and forcing them with wounds using concrete that cannot be healed without her abilities. Realizing this, Delsin travels to Seattle with his cop brother to try and help their tribe. Naturally, when going into a city filled with earthbenders after only barely learning how to hover, things do not go well. From there, it's just a matter of meeting other conduits and gaining their powers, and your morality actually affects their color and how they can be upgraded. And after gaining them, they can be swapped by absorbing certain power sources nearby. So in case one power is useless in a fight, you can try switching to another. It's easily one of the best mechanics as it helps give some battles some tension, and each morality side does bring something useful to the table. But it also feels pointless from a narrative standpoint, as while Delsin can be a bit of a jerk at times, his heart is definitely in the right place, and there are very few moments in the game that would make me go, yeah, you would kill him. And the way the game tries to get you to make evil decisions is by harming musicians and sign spinners. Okay, not even Reboot Dante is that dickish. Maybe. You could take this out, focus more on Delsin's mentality with stuff like killing people, which actual headshots do earn evil karma, or expanding his relationship with the other conduits, and the story could have easily been improved. The morality meter also makes sure you can only stick to one path with the gameplay by either stunning foes or go straight for more brutal kills as you keep improving those powers, so it is very limiting until your karma reaches the maximum level. Or until you realize that doing a string of karma activities, you can use a super move that basically wrecks 99% of everything so long as you are consistent. Yeah, that was pretty game-breaking barring some boss fights. This was a bit harder with good karma since I had to use leg shots and you had to hit both legs, and this really made video useless to me due to its lack of takedowns and good offense. And while using all these abilities was fun, especially with Neon offering the slowdown time, the enemy types rarely change at all. They will be the same dudes you have always been fighting outside of a few variants and some helicopters. The only exception is fighting the conduit with video powers. That's not to say there isn't difficulty, but I did wish I could have more variety. The levels at least do offer a bit more in terms of maneuvering around the battlefield. With all of these abilities though, physical attacks felt less and less useful, especially with Delsin feeling like a glass cannon sometimes. Make no mistake, you are likely going to be shooting foes all the time, especially for boss fights. Thankfully those at least can be fun at times. Just don't expect a whole lot of extra things to do. Tagging things with spray can art was decent how you use the controller to move things and shake the can, but there's not much else to do and it's really not that challenging. The dark visuals at times make some missions like finding the hidden agent a pain in the ass though, and the image you get isn't all that useful given that they can auto-flee and be placed at random. You can also find certain audio logs which does give some much needed backstory, but it doesn't add too much to the main plot. Overall, the side quest left a lot to be desired. Taking over areas though was hilarious with the phone calls, so I can give some points there. For an open world game though, I have seen worse, and it's fun to see how citizens treat you depending on your moral high ground. Like having citizens snap pictures of me with their phone, or cheering that they want my baby. Okay, that one makes me a tad uncomfortable. The final verdict for Infamous Second Son is... check it out. It's not the system seller Sony wanted it to be, but I still had a good time for the low price I got it at. I'm the smartest moron, and I think I'll continue to wait for Spider-Man Arkham City. But seriously, please let's have a good Spider-Man game again.